And I think Walz has this kind of strange Joe Biden-esque faux macho about him. He says at times, like, I could kick Trump supporters' ass. And you're like, well, no one's asking you to do that.
Right.
You know, we're just asking for plans on taxes and how to kind of secure jobs.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with managing editor Chris Irvine.
Hi.
Chris, Tim Walz, former running mate for Kamala Harris, governor of Minnesota, is everywhere lately. Why?
Many people are asking that. I assume in his own kind of career ambitions that he's maybe thinking about a possible Senate run in 2026. Maybe he's eyeing up a possible 2028 run. I would find that quite extraordinary if he was. I think this kind of return to our airwaves and just being absolutely everywhere has been an interesting look into the state of the Democratic Party, and we've been talking for months about the soul searching. Where do they go next? And I think Walz is an interesting microcosm of one side of the party that almost kind of says, yeah, we didn't get it right in November, but then they can't quite articulate what it is that they did wrong and where they're going to go from here. I was listening to his podcast interview with Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and that divide is quite apparent between the two of them, where Walz almost seems to still treat the Republican side with a bit of disdain, and why do we even have to kind of engage with these people? He says, I don't think we're going to get the 77 million Trump voters back, but it's the people in the middle that didn't vote that we want to go for. And Newsom, to his credit, I think, says, no, actually, we do have to hear these people out. We have to hear out the likes of Steve Bannon, and we might not agree with everything he says, but they actually overlap in some cases when it comes to tax, for example. And I think it's really... It's this kind of battle for the soul of the Democratic Party that's kind of playing out in front of us, and Walz, for some reason, seems to be one of the main surrogates right now.
Walz was supposed to be Democrats' overture to men, right? You remember the semi-disastrous hunting photo shoot during the race and such. Is he articulating any vision forward for the party with men, or is any Democrat doing that right now?
I think, again, just to go back to the podcast, I'm not doing advertising for Gavin Newsom's podcast, but they talk about how the Democrats lost men, and there is an acknowledgement that the Democrats have viewed themselves as being the party of the sort of disenfranchised. So classically, when we're talking about women, we're talking about minorities, but there does seem to be acknowledgement that with that they have neglected men, which I think is kind of one of the first times I've actually heard them say we might have screwed up here on that. Now, there doesn't seem to be much of an idea for how do you go back and get men. And I think Walz has this kind of strange Joe Biden-esque faux macho about him. He says at times, like, I could kick Trump supporters' ass. And you're like, well, no one's asking you to do that.
Right.
You know, we're just asking for plans on taxes and how to kind of secure jobs. And I think it's a bit, he has a kind of strange view of what he seems as this masculine energy.
And Schumer is also pretty visible right now, defending his vote to avert a shutdown. What do you think, he is trying to signal to Democrats right now when he's advocating bipartisanship in some ways? Yeah,
well, I should say that Democrats need to be putting their best guys forward right now, and the fact that we're talking about Chuck Schumer and Tim Walz being in the airwaves shows that they're not exactly going in the right direction. I thought Schumer, his argument is obviously for averting the shutdown, that the alternative would have been far worse. I don't think he's articulated that particularly well. And then he went on The View, where he basically kind of mocked taxpayers for wanting to hold on to their money and earnings. And I think that's a sort of strange message to deliver to people, especially when it's coming from someone like Schumer, who is a career politician and hasn't had a job in the real world, that he views government as this overwhelming force for good, whereas clearly the whole point of this election and everything that's happened in between is that government is broken, and Schumer is not offering any kind of alternative vision for how to fix that.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here today. You can get more writing from Chris and the rest of the politics team at washingtonexaminer.com.